Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Motivated Results. Today we're going to do the upper body portion of my mobility flexibility routine. If you haven't seen the lower body piece, I'll link it everywhere. For those of you that are powerlifters and for those of you that do multi-joint movements, both that include both upper and lower body in the same workout, you'll probably want to combine both of these routines into one, and then once again remove or add things as you see fit, because you will need to have a limber upper and lower body going into like a squat and a bench workout, or a deadlift and an OHP workout, or whatever it is that you got going on. A couple of things of note: I've already stretched my lower back and done a lot of the foam rolling, so this is just specifically going to be focused on the upper body, which there's not as much mobility in my opinion than the lower body. And a lot of these things you'll have to either do post or pre, depending on how your body responds to the workout. In order to keep these videos short, I'm going to try to speak a little less than I did in the last video, because last time it was about 15 minutes. I was hoping for 5. Tools that you will need today that I will be using today. I'll still be using the foam roller. If you're hella gangster and hella strong, I would suggest you can reuse the same medium resistance band from the lower body. I am not. So I have a very, very basic band here that we'll be using. And then also, if you don't have the band, you could also do something like a PVC pipe that I have sitting around. I hope I don't break my fan showing you guys this. Let's get started. If you've already foam rolled your back, as I've instructed you to do so, what I would say is just in order to gauge where you are with your mobility, I would say foam roll a little bit of the shoulder caps to see where you are, and then we'll get on to some of the more dynamic movements. After some foam rolling, I like to incorporate some shoulder rotations just to get the joint warmed up. I am limited in space here, so I'm gonna kind of kneel down and do this. A couple of tips is when you're doing the rotation, try to keep your chest at a neutral location. Don't swing around with your chest to try to give yourself more range of motion. Try to keep your chest neutral as much as possible. Sometimes I'll grab onto something as I'm doing it, that way I can keep my chest neutral. What I have to do is about 20 back, 20 forward. And then what I usually tell people is the first few reps, just try to get the range of motion in, and then afterwards try to reach out as far as possible. I like to be able to get out as far as possible from all directions, allowing you to get slightly better range of motion. The opposite arm. You just kind of shake them out. Alright, next thing I like to do is some band pull aparts. Grab the band at a decent distance, and you're just not just pulling apart by your shoulders, you're also trying to compress the scapula, which is basically your shoulder blades. And so you'll do a nice little routine. I do about 15-20, give or take. So you're stretching all the way, you want the band to hit the chest. Take the PVC pipe and do some shoulder dislocations and make sure I got clearance here. So get it somewhat wide. You can also do this with the band. I like the PVC a little bit more because it's a little bit more rigid. So overhead and out and over. Be very careful with these movements if you are not very mobile. I'm worried about hitting this fan. After you have those, what I like to do is almost the same situation, but almost in a windmill form. So once again, wide grip. I might not have the clearance for this, so you want to come over and under and back, and then back over with the opposite shoulder. This is very close. Reverse the movement. All right, now that we have the pull, this is a little bit more advanced for those of you that might not have the shoulder mobility. What I like to do is take the pipe, wide grip once again, and then pass it overhead and back. Some of you might have a hard time with this, and I would say take it slow. Alright, see? That's usually where my mobility routine ends up. And then I'll kind of get some warm-up reps working up to whatever the movement is. If you still feel like you have a really tight shoulder capsule, or maybe your pecs, what I would suggest is incorporating some smashing. Not that kind. So what you normally do if you had to do some smashing, I would take a lacrosse ball. If some of you guys, this is too much for you because lacrosse balls are typically like solid. what I would do is maybe start off with a racquetball that's fairly soft and pliable. If you're hardcore, you need something like a beastie. Suggest breaking down that tissue by putting the ball up against the wall and then using your body to break down that tissue. This is gonna hurt, especially if you have really tight tissue. I myself get really tight tissue in the front delts and also in the pec area, post bench. And so a lot of times I'll do this after the workout, but if I'm really tight from a previous workout, I'll incorporate it beforehand. There is really no recommended amount of time to do this. What I would suggest is just get to the point where you can really get in there and use your body weight to press on that ball and really break down that tissue. Much like with any of the other mobility items, you will see when you're tight because it'll hurt. And that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. This was a little bit easier than lower body, but I did want to combine them because I knew it was going to be a little bit lengthier of a video. Questions, comments, let me know. There is more active movements you can do to get ready for preparation. I know DeFranco has his Agile 8 that involve a little bit more dynamic movements in order to get stretched. I like this stuff because it's fairly simple and I can take a little bit more time to focus and mentally connect with my body and figure out what's tight and what isn't and what needs more work. And then maybe I can incorporate a little bit of those dynamic movements. But for the most part, this helped me a lot, especially the shoulder items for bench press. So try those out. Questions, comments down below, and I'm off to work out. See you guys next time.